a meh.
Okay, right off the hop there, what was with the animation sequence where they had like the voice email they were reading to you? They could have at least, allowed me to click next, or not bothered with the whole silly interface. It was really odd. I don't know why they couldn't have just let me click next. It would have been, even back in the day, it would have been simple enough to do. Come on, dudes. And this is probably for the best with how terrible the graphics were, but the mouse didn't actually move in the in-game cutscenes where they were talking to each other. They just sort of flailed their arms about a little bit. I guess I should just be thankful they even had voices. There was another weird design choice of theirs. That they decided not to have a health bar. They just kind of had you limp if you were hurt and bleed if you were cut, but you didn't really know exactly how hurt you really were. Something else that was a little bit odd about this was how arbitrary it was. Which items in your inventory it would automatically use on the thing that you're supposed to use it on, and which items you actually had to go into your inventory and say, hey, I want to use this right now. It's like, hey, I got a cellar door key. I'm standing in front of the cellar door. What else am I gonna use this cellar door key for but the cellar door? Oh, damn, man! What kind of wars are you fighting in? We're saying that's common amongst you guys is, I'm gonna eat or be eaten. Maybe you're in a zombie apocalypse and they're gonna eat you? Or you're gonna eat... No, that's yucky, man. Like, what kind of wars are you involving yourself in? Where you have to eat your enemies on the field? Bring some rations or something, guy. You don't need to eat them. Trust me, that's not good for your health. And the dinosaurs. Sure, we can barge through a door. We know how to open doorknobs and stuff. But stairs, man, they still befuddle me, man. I can't go up a flight of stairs. But somehow there's already one up there. Go figure, eh?
I felt like a mad scientist with the crafting.
Mixing potions and poisons and stuff. It was actually kind of interesting. I liked it. Weird concept that's like, hey, let's see how high we can get with these weird medicines that we're finding laying around the place. And as much as it was kind of irritating that all the combat was so clunky, it was really nice that I couldn't accidentally waste one of these precious bullets that we have, because I had to go through a whole process just to shoot. You have to bring your gun arm up, you have to aim at something, and then you have to click the shoot button while you're holding it. So it's not like you're going to accidentally misfire something and waste a bullet on someone or a wall or whatever,
And now, the good.
Okay, the first dino you see in the game eats somebody in the intro. Oh my god, that was a great way to start your game, hosers. Totally go for that. That is some fun stuff right there. Although, unfortunately, it kind of set you up for a little bit of false expectations in some ways, but in other ways, no. You kind of get eaten a lot by dudes in this game. Oh, and speaking of the dinosaurs, I was actually scared of the dinos. I ran a lot, because even early on, I kind of figured that killing things were a little bit useless, but then as soon as I realized they came back after you killed them, I'm like, nope, not worth the bullets. I'll save them for something real tough. Maybe there's a couple of spots I'm not sure that if you did kill the dinosaurs, they would stay dead in that room, but I wasn't about to find out. Just wasn't worth it. I really liked how they had a save point and it wasn't just an autosave. Autosaves are nice in case, you haven't saved in a while and you just died because of some sort of mistake. But as long as the save points are placed strategically enough in your game, then you don't have to worry too much about losing a lot of progress. If you make it something that you can't really avoid, which they did, then you're saving more frequently and you don't have to worry about losing too much progress. And it also saves you if you start dying in the same room all the time and you figure out what you're doing, you can reload your save and then you get all of your resuscitation items and stuff back that you wasted on all those deaths that you took into that room. And this game was full of a lot of nice little touches. Even for how old it was, there was a lot of things in here that just helped make it pop a little bit more than it normally would have, right? Things like having voice acting in your game. This is an older game, so this wasn't really common back then, but it really did add a little bit more, even if it was terrible voice acting, which only one of the guys seemed a little bit lacking. He almost sounded like Beavis had a real hard life and now he's doing whatever he can take. turned into Nicolas Cage, you know? Or the way if you're injured and you're limping and you go through a door, you're actually limping going through the doorway. They didn't have to do that. They could have just kept the same animation, but they didn't. That was nice. The bleeding effect was also really cool because you could get sliced by their claws because they're dinosaurs with razor sharp claws. Rawr! You're going to lose hit points slowly but surely. So that's cool. It's a nice little touch. Even how you have all these weird healing items you're finding throughout the game, but at one point in the game you find a little file that tells you exactly how and why and what they're doing with these medications and what they're for. These weird little healing items and how they actually do revive you. It's really fast, it's cool. Wolverine powers, wah-ha, shinky shink. Those laser fences, that was funny as heck. The first time I zapped myself on one, I'm like, what? Oh, that's cool. Not only do the dinos get zapped, but you get zapped if you walk your dumbass into those lasers. Another nice touch was that they had items that you could find early on in the game that weren't immediately useful to you, but later on in the game you're like, oh hey, I got that thing. Cool, now I can finally use it. And what the hell? Why did the dinos have to go through doorways too? Don't do that to a person! Jeebus! There was also at least 2 points in this game where you could make a choice and the game would progress a little bit differently for a period, where you could either follow Gale or follow Rick. And apparently you have to do these in a particular order or something to get the best ending. I didn't bother with that. I was just playing it just to play it. In these puzzles, they were fun. They were pretty simple to figure out, and then you would get them again and again, and each time you got the puzzle, there was another little twist to it, another change, something to just make you think a little bit differently. And what that does to you is it makes you interact with the game more than just pushing the buttons on the controller, because this stuff isn't stored in a journal. If you want to remember that this memo over here said code 73284, then you had to write it down. That was a nice way to make you interact outside of the actual environment of the game. More games need to do that. There was a few other games that did it, like the Metal Gear Solid and Psycho Mantis, where you got to put the controller down or had to plug it into port 2. I like it when games make you do neat things like that. They think outside the box, because this game was full of all sorts of little clues. If you paid attention and you actually looked at all of these little memos that they had laying around. These memos were full of details and story, and it's kind of like the way they do it in Dark Souls. And now, the bad. I really wish I could have skipped some of these cutscenes, at least a second time around. It was getting pretty obnoxious, some of these places where I would go through this really long cutscene and then some action stuff would happen and then I'd die. Oh great, now I gotta go through it all again. The map wasn't always really useful. There was quite a few times where it would say your destination is supposed to be this flashy red thing, but nowhere on any of your maps was a flashy red thing. So it's like, alright, where do I go? Speaking of where do I go, I don't even know which way I'm necessarily facing. Because sure, it showed you your position and which way you were facing on that little compass, but not necessarily where you were in relation to the room, because they had these stupid fixed cameras. And to the stupid fixed cameras! These graphics are 3D. You've taken a 3D model of these things, you have it from all views. Damn it, let me turn the view around. Speaking of turning around, I really hate the way your dude controls. The up is forward and then turn to left is... I don't know what these controls are called, but man, they're terrible. Never make a game with these controls again. It was so clunky and she was so slow, and these things were fast. These dinosaurs, they would lunge at you and jump across tables. Meanwhile, you're walking around like you gotta stick up your bum and you can't figure out how to turn left. Or you'd end up running into a wall instead of running away, and then they would hit you and knock you into a different orientation. And then you get back up and now you're running back into a wall. I get that these terrible controls kind of added a little bit of tension and fear. I think that's partially the reason why I was afraid of the dinosaurs all the time and running away from them, because I knew they were such a pain in the arse to try and combat. If you're trying to create tension in your game, crappy controls should not be that feature. And then, to add insult to injury, you respawn these little jerks. I was so mad, if you couldn't tell. I wasted all that bloody ammo killing those stupid things only to have them respawn like less than 10 minutes later. The danger sequences were cool. It was a neat effect. It was a little bit like the active time events that they have in like God of War and stuff. But there was no meter. There was nothing saying which button to push. It just popped up and said danger. And I knew if I did nothing, I would die. But what's the something I have to do to live? How much of this something do I need to do? I don't know. Let's just smash my face against the controller and see if I live. Oh, what fun. The verdict. As a complete package, the game is okay. It could really use the Resident Evil 2 treatment. They could really just jazz up those graphics, use the same engine, and just throw dinosaurs into it, and people would enjoy the heck out of it. It'd be the Jurassic Park game that we've all been waiting for. And the dinos were nice, they were fun, it was refreshing from having the zombies. Because a lot of these games have been doing so many zombie things lately, it's nice to have a change of pace for once. Because this game was fun, I enjoyed the puzzles, the tension was great. Giving the dinos this zombie treatment of being all scary and stuff, and still actually being in like an urban setting. You're not out in a jungle and having to worry about them jumping out of the bush at you. Instead, they just come crashing through windows at you. Yeah, jerk. But unfortunately, those controls, they were just so difficult to get past. It was clunky, it was not suited for action combat, and this game screamed it needed some action. You had to be able to turn on a dime and spin around and jump and dodge and shoot. But it just had none of that. And with that, I'm gonna have to give this game 5 almost 2 fluffy snowballs out of 10. Well, I'm saddened to say that it's over. I'm so glad you could stay, but moreover, I'm willing to bet you have more important shit to do, so go home. Take off, ya hoser.
But wait, that's not all! In just a few short days, you will receive yet another episode absolutely free! By using the patented YouTube interface, you can have unlimited access to all previous videos in the series. Act now, and you can even be alerted when new episodes become available. Simply click 1-800-SUBSCRIBE. That's 1-800-SUBSCRIBE.
Previously Delicious is not responsible for any butt hurt, loss of time, indigestion, ruined childhoods, loss of civility, or shattered pink glasses that might arise from exposure to this product. Please, use at your own risk. You are a big boy and or girl, and no one has forced you to watch this. If someone has, your beef is with them. Seriously, folks, at this point, you should know how all this works. I'm only reminding you for the poops and laughs.